Transformers Animated has been a fan favorite for a while now, so it's no wonder they released the Legacy Animated Optimus Prime. I mean, they were gonna do it eventually. But is this figure any good, or is it just cheap nostalgia bait? Now let's check out our $35 piece of plastic that gives us a dopamine rush when we buy it. The packaging has some pretty badass artwork on the sides, and the figure itself seems to be great at first glance. Transformers Animated always had a very unique style to it, and it even shows with this figure. Leave a like below if you like Transformers Animated, and even if you don't, just leave a like. Please leave a like, please. The proportions of this figure haven't really been replicated from the show, like with the original toy, but this is still pretty good. However, I can't help but feel like this figure looks a bit more kiddish. Wait, Transformers toys for kids? You can't be serious, right? Regardless, I think this figure looks really good, but there are some paint inaccuracies on it. He's missing some yellow paint for the head, hands, as well as the feet. There should be some white or very lightish silver paint on the head, but instead we get a darker gray in the front area. We also have some paint applications on the side of the arms, which are necessary for the vehicle mode, and his arms are only partially blue, and I believe in the show, these parts of the arms are entirely blue. It seemed like Hasbro was toning down the G1ification for legacy figures, but there's a lot of G1 elements to this figure. I mean, the original design itself is based off G1 Prime, but you'll see what I mean. Here is the figure, and here it is next to a picture of the original Voyager animated Prime. You'll see the original kept more true to the proportions of the figure. Sure, Legacy is meant to be sort of a new take on these figures, but sometimes they go for original accuracy, and then sometimes they go for something more stylized, which kind of leads to a very confusing line of figures. I'm really ranting over a $35 piece of plastic. I guess that's my financial contribution to society. I actually don't hate this figure. I think it looks very nice. The head sculpt on here is really great. You can see they did G1ify this. Hasbro really likes to take that G1ification ray out of storage. It's a lot more boxy and square, but it is nice. He has a classic Optimus Prime look, and I like how they opted for the open mouth instead of the closed mouth piece, which can be a pretty controversial thing amongst fans. I like how he has a blue face just like in the original show, along with the blue eyes and a black outline around them to make them pop. The dark silver paint on here is also done pretty well. The chest area looks pretty good, but the design is a lot more bulky compared to the animated design, making him look like a big, wide, and beefy boy. Why did I write that in the script? They made him thick, but they didn't make him thick where it matters, and that's disappointing. This also feels like it was very G1ified. The main chest piece still resembles the shape of the original design, and so do the windows on the chest piece, which do end up getting a lot of dust on them, and they are kind of a fingerprint magnet, so be careful of that. Now, the abdomen area doesn't really resemble his show counterpart. There's a lot less of it here, and this chest piece doesn't go all the way around to the sides. Instead, it goes up to here, and that makes the figure feel a little naked. What is nice though, if you take the front piece up as part of the transformation, can be a little bit tough to do. There we go. If we take a look inside, we can see some really nice truck detail. I think this was a really cool touch to add, even though you're never going to really see this unless you're transforming the figure. The original Transformers Prime Optimus Prime figure also had some truck detail on the inside. I do like all these paint applications on here. They are show accurate. The shape of the arms resemble the animated design, but as I mentioned earlier, there are some color differences. There's a few bits of extra detail on here to make it pop, but one thing I'm not sure if I like it are the classic G1 shapes on his arms. This really sells it to me that they wanted to G1ify this figure. The original design doesn't have these, so I'm kind of leaning towards they shouldn't be there. We also do get a bit of hollowness on the arms. The Autobot logo being on one side is accurate to the show, and it looks nice. The crotch area is a nice bright blue, and it has some good yellow paint on it. And if we go further down the legs, this looks fine, but we do have some ugly gaps on the inside. If we bend this, we can see a little bit more. We do also have some gaps on the back of the legs. The rest of the shape of the legs is fine. They added more detail to it, along with some more G1 Optimus Prime bits. The feet on this, however, look kind of weird. I personally don't like them. Maybe if they did add some more paint to it, it would look better. Turning the figure over to the back, we do have his fire truck lights in a nice translucent red and blue. So design-wise, in robot mode, as an animated Optimus Prime figure, it does look pretty good. I like it, but I feel like it falls a little bit flat in representing what the original animated Optimus Prime looked like. But if you keep that in mind when picking up this figure, I don't think you'll be disappointed, because as I said earlier, this is a pretty good looking figure. Now, before we get into the vehicle mode, let's talk about the articulation. It is pretty much standard stuff for a Voyager class figure, so I don't think you'll have trouble posing this guy. You can move the head around and give it a full 360 rotation. If we zoom in, we will see a hinge joint over here, so you can move the head back and forth. These arms can move out to the side. We do get a rotation on them. Arm rotation there. The elbow bend is a double hinge joint, which is very nice. We do get some hand rotation. No ab crunch, but we do get a waist rotation. These legs can move all the way up there, out to the side. Rotation, they can move back, and we get a knee bend that goes past 90. The knees are similar to mine in that they don't hold up very well. For the feet, we do get a pivot inwards. piece, and we can move this as part of the transformation. Now onto the accessory of the figure, we do get his battle axe, and I really love the way this looks. The translucent blue is super nice along with the gray paint and the red molded plastic. The shaft area is a little bit bulky in my opinion, and at first glance you might think it goes for girth instead of length. However, it is possible to further erect, just like how it is in the show, and my penis, so that way he can now properly hold it. You can also place this on the back of the figure for some weapon storage. Size-wise, here he is next to Legacy Armada Optimus, Studio Series 1 and 2, and the Volvo Optimus. Also, I did want to mention, just like my Sanity, this back piece can be a little loose and detach at times. Transforming this figure is fairly simple. The first thing I like to do is come to the arms, bring this down, and then flip in the hands and close that back up. We're going to want to do the same thing over here on this side and close that back up. Next, we can come down to the feet and pull both of them out. We're then going to want to grab this section up here from the top and then pull that out. This was a little bit difficult for me to do the first time around, and it can just kind of be stuck in there. From the underneath, let's connect the legs together. So now with these parts of the legs, we're just going to leave this down here so it doesn't get in our way. So we can take this front section of the chest, and this can be kind of a pain to take off, but we need to bring it up like so, and then come over to this back side, untab that, and bring that up as well. Now we can take these pieces and bring them out on both sides of the figure, take this upper chest section and bring it up like so. We do need to rotate this top section around, and as you can see, it is kind of popping out there already, so I like to hold it down and push it in while I rotate this around. Take the rest of the legs and then bring them in and slotting them into place. Same over here with this side, slot that into place. Readjust the legs, take the feet and then flip them over, and this needs to tap into those slots, so do that. Do the same here and make sure it's pushed in. Now we're going to want to take the arms of the figure and we're going to bend them in, and this tabs into there. So go ahead and tab that in and do the same for this arm. We can bring this chest piece up here, rotate this arm to where it's facing around this way, grab this from here and then just shift it up like so, and this tab needs to be underneath. Same thing for the one on this side, make sure this is rotated like so. Hold on to this as we shift this up and in, make sure that's tabbed in. We can now finally bring up the chest piece to form the front of the truck mode, make sure everything is aligned in there. Lastly, we can take this back piece to form the top section of the truck mode, and let's fix the legs to make sure they're properly in place. Here's the vehicle mode, and the front part of it looks pretty accurate to the animated show. Now right away, I am having a bit of trouble getting some of the pieces of the figure to tab into place properly for the vehicle mode. They always seem to loosen up for some reason, which can be kind of annoying. This top section doesn't seem to want to stay fully down sometimes. The shape and angles all seem to be replicated well. His lights are more visible up at the top now, and I do quite like some of the detail up around here. This gray piece is inward like it's supposed to be. This gray section, however, seems to be a little off. It feels like it's a bit more bulky than it should be. All the color and accuracies in the robot mode, mainly the arms, don't seem to be too bad now because they shine in the vehicle mode. The truck bed though is kind of where it falls apart. This always feels like it's a thing with truck modes on Optimus Prime figures. It is mainly the feet, and if you wanted to, you could take them off, making the trailer look a lot cleaner. I'm too lazy to show that off right now. Now there's probably a reason as to why they've done this. They might end up releasing this figure with a proper fire truck trailer, and then that would mean you would have to buy this figure again if you wanted that. But also now a third-party company could release an extra add-on attachment for this. But with this, he can carry 2 trailers now. So I'm going to reserve those complaints for now. The figure does roll pretty decently, so that is nice. Overall, it's a pretty fun figure, not fully accurate to the original toy, but accurate enough to where it still looks good. Now check out this other video over here about a knockoff Transformers Prime Optimus Prime figure.